Okay, good morning. Today is Wednesday. It is the 21st day of Shevat. We are in the middle of chapter 26 in Tanya. Very, very important class today. We're talking about the need and Alter Rebbe giving us advice how to face challenges and how to stay happy. Although we faced real pain and real sufferings. Yesterday, the Alter Rebbe explained, he started with the fact that we need to have, the need to be happy, to stay happy, is so important, so crucial in the service of Hashem, because that is what keeps us going, that is what keeps us connected to Hashem and keeps us doing the good things, whatever we need to do. As soon as a person falls in a depression and sad, that's the way the Yetzer Hara drags a person down. Sometimes when a person commits something, does something bad, and he starts feeling bad about what he did, that itself is a trick of the Yetzer Hara. He doesn't care so much about the sin that a person does. He cares more about the person staying depressed because that's where he got the person. He got him and he doesn't let him keep growing. And that's why the simcha, the happiness, is so important. But the question is how? We do have challenges in life. We do have a lot of challenges in life. And some of them are real. Not all challenges, obviously pain and sufferings is relative to different people, different things. Some people have a lot of challenges. They say, I have so much money and I don't know where to reinvest it. I have big problems. So this is different types of problems. But we're talking about real problems. People who have real problems with children, health, parnasa. How can we be happy if we have those problems? And here comes the Alter Rebbe, and it gives us advice. And to understand, to look at everything in a deeper perspective, where is it coming from? The idea that everything that comes from Hashem is good and only good. And obviously, this is something that we need to talk and explain more, and we'll explain it as we go along. So let's look inside. Now comes the Alter Rebbe giving us advice regarding how can one be happy. Eitzo hayeutza, the sound advice, letahel liba. Yehutza means it was advice that was already given. Letahel liboy mikol etzev v'nidnu dag mimila de'alma. That our sages give advice on cleansing one's heart of all sadness and any trace of worry about mundane matters. And even if we're talking about real things, real problems, the lack of essentials like children, health, livelihood. Modas zois lakoil mai marazal. It is well known the saying of our sages that keshem shemavorich ala tova chulu. That just as one recites a blessing for his good fortune, so too says that the Gemara we should say the blessing the same way on the bad things that is happening to a person. And the question is, the Gemara asks, is it the same blessing? Obviously not. There's different blessings. When we say on a bad fortune and a good fortune, we say atov ve'ametiv, that Hashem does good. When a bad fortune, God forbid, we say dayana emet. So what does it mean that we're doing the same blessing? And the Gemara explains that one needs to accept it with happiness. Just like when something good happens to a person. So first of all, we need to understand, it's not easy to understand. There's a story about accepting the good, the bad just like as good. There was a Rav in Europe that he was a Rosh Yeshiva, and he also did business. He sent lumber and ships, and he was investing a lot. And one day he made a big investment, and everything went down. The ships or whatever were carrying the lumber, everything drowned, and he lost a big fortune. And the people didn't know how to break the news to the rabbi. And then one student said, "Oh, let me break the news to him." And he went over to the rabbi and he says to him, "Rabbi, I have a question. There's a Gemara, a piece of the Talmud that I don't understand. Can you explain it to me?" And he opens this Gemara that we just learned. That a person, the Gemara says, just like you have to accept with happiness and say a blessing with the same happiness that you would say for a good fortune, you have to say when something bad happens to you. And he says to Rabbi, I don't understand. How is it possible? And the rabbi started explaining to him, yes, because everything comes from Hashem. He explained that even if something bad happens, you have to be besimcha. You have to be rejoiced. And so he says, Rabbi, I don't understand. Imagine, he says, Rabbi, imagine your shipment sunk in the ocean. Would that be something also you should be happy about? So the rabbi says, yes, absolutely. In that case, says the student, you can start dancing now. The rabbi became very serious and he sat down. And the student says, what happened? He says, I start to realize I also have to understand this Gemara a little bit more. It's not easy to say. It's easier said than done to really understand the idea that you can accept everything what Hashem does, besimcha, with happiness, even the bad fortune. There's another story from the brother of the Rebbe Rashab to the other side. The brother of the Rebbe Rashab, Rabbi Zalman Cohen, also was a businessman, was investing, and then a similar thing. Somebody came over and told him that he lost a big fortune, and he was very taken, affected him very strongly. But a few minutes later, he got up, and as if nothing happened, and he continued with praying and davening and everything, whatever, as if nothing happened. And one of the Hasidim went over to him and says, Rabbi Zalman, says, how did you do it? What doesn't affect you, this loss? So Rabbi Zalman said, what I did, I just pictured myself in 20 years from now. In 20 years from now. Like in 20 years, I'm told that 20 years ago, I lost a fortune. When you're able to put yourself in a situation and put yourself in a better, to be able to look at things in a better perspective, it helps you to be able to understand and accept whatever Hashem does, besimcha. And the Alter Rebbe continues to explain why. And it says, Ki gam zu l'tova. Because the truth of the matter is that even this, not the thing that happened to you, is also for the good. Is also for the good. Except we don't see it. It's not revealed to us. The good is not revealed. There's the famous story also here with the Nachum Ish Gamzu. That Nachum was in the time of the Romans. Nachum Ish Gamzu, the Nachum was sent to the king to ask him to nullify a decree, and they sent him a box with gold, jewelry, all kind of big treasure. And on the way, he stayed in an inn. The owner of the inn exchanged the treasure for rocks. And he said, Gamzu l'teva, whatever Hashem does is for the good. But he had a mission to go to the king, so he went to the king with the rocks. And they brought the rocks to the king. And obviously, what did they do? The king saw the rocks, and he says, "That's it. You gotta execute this person." They put him in prison, and right before they were about to execute the person, a minister, an angel came in the form of a minister, came to the king and says, "Wait a second, maybe this is the rocks of his great-grandfather, ancestor Avram Avinu, our father Abraham, which the way he won the war against his enemies is when he threw the rocks. Hashem miraculously made and turned them into arrows." And the king did it, and he tested it, and indeed it worked. Hashem made the miracle. And of course, the king rewarded him, and he gave him treasures, and he nullified the decree, and so on. So at the moment when his treasure was exchanged into rocks, it seemed like a terrible, terrible thing. But the truth is that itself was a good thing. Why? Because if it would go to the king with treasures, there is no guarantee that this would change the king's mind. If the king has plenty of treasures. But if these rocks when these treasures was stolen, replaced with rocks, that itself was the good thing that brought about the redemption. So what we see is that everything that comes from Hashem is good, except that the good sometimes is so good that it cannot be revealed. It has to come in disguise, in a very hidden way. Because this comes from the world, the hidden spiritual world, which is higher than the revealed spiritual world. And it says, this is something that the Rebbe explains later on, that there is the name of God. There is the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey. The Vav and the Hey represents the revealed world. The Yud and the Hey represents the hidden world. The Yud represents is like the Chachma, like a Dat, which has everything concealed in the Yud. The Hey represents the broadening of that Chachma. But the Vav and the Hey, the Vav represents the Dat that draws down, that brings down to the lower world, and expanding. The Hey is expanding in the lower world. So it says Dal Rebbe Shu Vav Hey Mishem Avaya Bochu. The ladder, the revealed world, emanates from the letters Vav and the Hey of Avaya. The Alma, the Iskasia, who Yud and Hey. Well, the former derives from the letters Yud and Hey. Vezeu shekasuv Ashrei HaGever Asher Tiyasrenu Yud-Kei. One of the name of gods is Yud-Kei. Says this is also the meaning of the verse. Happy is the man whom you, God, spelled Yud and Hey, chasten. That Hashem gives sufferings to a person, the Yud and the Hey, because this is what comes from that place. It comes from a hidden good. Velochein amru Azal, ki asmeichim beisurim aleim akasu veimer ve'oy havav ketzis Hashemesh bigvorasi. For this reason, our sages state that the verse, those who love him shall be as the sun when it comes out in its might, refers to the reward of those who rejoice in their affliction. What is the idea over here? What is the idea of the sun coming out? The sun represents the name of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the name of Avaya. It represents the revealed godliness. It says the sun now is concealed. It doesn't shine with its full power. Because when it will shine with the full power, the world will not be able to receive it. And when Mashiach comes, it says the sun, Hashem takes out the sun from its shape, from its nautic, from its place, the things that covers it, the shield that covers the sun. That means that deeper good will be revealed when Mashiach is coming. So this is what our sages say, that those who are happy with the Yisurim, those who are happy, those who rejoice with the sufferings, meaning that they realize that there is something deeper there. They realize this is something that comes from the deeper level of Hashem, the concealed level of Hashem. This is why they are getting a similar reward that they will be able to see as the sun comes out. Ki hasimcha hi me'avosa kirvas Hashem yoysa mekol chaya elam hazeh. Because one's joy in affliction stems from the fact that being near to God is dearer to him than anything of the life of this world. So he looks at everything what is happening in this world as coming from Hashem. And if Hashem, being with Hashem, is more dear to him, then certainly when he realizes he has sufferings, which means that he has a deeper revelation of Hashem, that brings him joy. As it is written, for your loving kindness is better than life. Now, the nearness to God is infinitely greater and more sublime in the hidden world. For there, the concealment of his power is lodged. And it is also written, the Most High abides in secrecy. So the secrecy tells him something is happening there. He has a deeper revelation. And therefore, therefore, he's found worthy of seeing the sun merging in its might. In the world to come, when the sun will emerge from the sheath, which is hidden in this world. And in the world, in the future, it will be revealed. Because then, that means that then, the hidden world will then be revealed. And it will shine forth and glow in a great and intense revelation. Upon all those who seek refuge in him in this world and taking shelter in his shadow. The shadow of wisdom, which is presently in a state of shade as opposed to revealed light and goodness. Right now it looks like shade, doesn't look like light. It's not the revealed good. And this is sufficient explanation for those who understand. What is the Alter Rebbe saying? What is interesting, this concept, Alter Rebbe brings in a few places in Tanya. In another place in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe also explains that by accepting and understanding this fact, that everything that comes from Hashem is good, and nothing that comes from Hashem is not good. And on the contrary, like I said here, it is a hidden good. When you come to this realization and you really internalize it, then you're able to see the good in a revealed manner. Of course, we always ask from Hashem. We ask from Hashem, we should have good. When we say before Rosh Hashanah, we say Lashana Tova Mesuka. Should have a good year and a sweet year. Why good and sweet? Because you can have good, like we just said, but it's not so sweet. Take a bitter medicine, it's not so sweet. It's good for you, but it's not sweet. We're asking Hashem, it should be also sweet. We should be able to see the good. We should be able to taste the good. But when you internalize this concept that everything is good, when something does happen to a person, then we realize and we say that this is good, and ultimately we will be able to see the goodness. And this is also what the Tzemach Tzedek says. Tracht gut wird sein gut. Think positive, and it will be positive. What does it mean? What is the thinking positive? That is the thinking positive. Thinking positive is understanding everything what Hashem does is good, and think that it will be good, that Hashem will bring out the good in a revealed way as well. And when you think, it has the power to even change from the hidden good into the revealed good. Just want to conclude with a story I just saw the other day. That happened. Something happened recently. It was in Israel. There was this musician. He plays a keyboard. He plays and sings nicely. And so he got a phone call that there was this orphan bar mitzvah boy. Family has no money. If you can, anybody he really enjoys music, if you can come play to the bar mitzvah. He says, "What? No, I need to be paid. I hardly make any money this time now in Corona." But they talked to him. They told him, "Listen, it's a real mitzvah," and he said, "Okay." And he comes. He went to this event, and he really, really put his heart and soul into this simcha. And he was singing and playing, and he made a tremendous. The happiness of the bar mitzvah boy was unbelievable, and he felt so appreciative and so accomplished that he did such a mitzvah. But the next day he gets a phone call, and from the health department, something that he has to quarantine the bar mitzvah boy, just as that was found positive with coronavirus. So he has to quarantine, and he said, "Oy, what happened to me? I came to make a mitzvah. Now I have to be quarantined 2 weeks, and I cannot have parnasa for 2 weeks." And if that was not enough, a few days later, he himself came out positive, and he felt so terrible, so bad. Why? Why did Hashem do it to him? But then it was a couple of weeks later, he gets a phone call from someone here in the States. There was some organization, I don't know which organization it was, but they made a big event for orphans or something, and they wanted him to come and play, and they were ready to pay him something that he would earn in 6 months. That's give him a ticket and come and play. Why? Those people who convinced them to go to make this bar mitzvah, so they were so impressed by the way he did it, they suggested for this organization to take it, to hire him is the best. You got to take him from Israel. But then they said that we have one condition, and that is we cannot take you here unless you already had COVID. So he thought, now he realizes, he thought everything was so bad, was so terrible. Now he realizes the fact that he got COVID. That was the only condition, that he was able to travel. So he's already basically is immune. He has the antibodies. And he came and he made something that he didn't make in 6 months. So this is just an example. We see that we see the goodness. Sometimes we see something happens, looks so terrible. But Hashem has his ways, and we do. And obviously when you do something good, Hashem does not punish you for that. He gives the reward is there. But this is in general. Everything what we do, it's not easy. But when we keep thinking that way, not when bad things happen, when everything is good, start thinking that way. You have to start training your way of thinking. The way you think, it should be that everything is from Hashem. Whatever Hashem does is good. And especially as we get closer to Mashiach, we see the secrets of the Torah come out. So also the secrets of the hidden world that Hashem communicates with us in the hidden way, in the hidden language, though this language, we start decoding this language. So therefore, even the hidden goods that are hidden, slowly but surely can become revealed. May Hashem help. We should all have only revealed good, and we should bring out all the revealed good from the hiddenness, and we should be zeichet to the coming of Mashiach very soon. Thank you very, very much for joining. Anybody has any questions, we can ask now questions.